new pens?
Okay.
I really have to start carrying my magnifying glass.
No feeling.
They are very much designed to post.
Well,
I see that.
all
Close-up vision.
right. That is
Not
not
really.
right.
Pretty much all the senses have gotten less.
Well, I think I mentioned that my last eye checkup.
My stepson Jacob. Ah. Well.
Your last eye checkup?
My close-up vision got worse, but my distance vision actually improved.
Yeah.
So,
Urban age where that happens.
At the expense of your close-up vision.
Yeah.
Ah,
so now I have to use reading glasses sometimes. Not if it's big print like that, but
I'd still need reading glasses for that.
yeah. But for smaller print.
I'm at the stage where I cannot read normal print without the reading glasses. And I can't always read street signs without the distance glasses.
So your vision is following the champion's rule. If you get an advantage, you get a disadvantage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. His is.
I spent 4 hours and 10 minutes shoveling snow on Saturday.
Well, you have to
Time
shovel
it?
2 properties.
I never do because it would just depress me.
Yeah.
I tried to improve myself.
I improve myself by getting it done and keeping it well salted.
Sunday was Matt's cutting. Where's Matt? Tommy Matt cutting, and I did very
You
well.
were cutting them?
Yeah.
Oh.
With a sword.
Yeah, with a real sword.
Oh. Okay.
Mhm.
I was misunderstanding.
I wasn't using harsh language. Since I cut them out.
I thought you were cutting them in order to lay them down, not cutting them in order to attempt to improve your slashing technique, which is what I would assume it was.
Yeah, my swordsmanship has improved considerably since a year ago.
Okay.
As evidenced by how much Tommy Matt you destroyed how quickly.
The fact that
How clean
both
too.
case of cuts I didn't screw up once.
That is an improvement. That is not easy.
And then I tried the horizontal cut, which is the hardest to do. And I blew it the first time, but every time after that, I did it successfully.
Okay. What style of swordsmanship are you studying?
Tenman Tenjutsu.
I do not recognize that name.
Yeah, most people don't. Tenman means 10 levels.
Okay. Who developed it? Is it Korean? Is it
Japanese.
Asian? Japanese? Okay.
Japanese one. And I went and I tried 3
So-
different blades, so that was fun.
So is it use Wakasashi or which sword? Which is it use? The Wakasashi, I believe, is the medium length one,
It was
right?
a short sword.
Oh, that's the short. Okay.
Tanto?
Tanto is a dagger.
Yeah, Tanto's a knife.
Yep. Wakasashi, and then I
Long
forget.
sword is a
Katana.
katana.
Well, that'll have to do.
Then you
And then
have
you get
the
into
dai-
Daigachi.
No. You get
I'm
the
not going
dai
to keep
katana.
fidgeting with it.
And then
Which is the hand and a half, sort of.
the dai katana was developed, so when you're on a horse, and you're going down swinging on the
Slicing
ground,
around.
you have a little more length to hit them with.
Okay.
That's what it's designed for.
So it fills the same niche as a saber did for English troops, although it's probably quite a bit bigger.
No, the saber was about the same kind of length as a katana. It was your standard long sword, but it was a curved, single-edged
Yep.
sword. Now the Nadachi was used very differently. Basically, you'd have lines of spearmen and lines of spearmen, and you'd get the big guy with the Nadachi, and he would go to the enemy's spears and cut all the heads off. Then they had sticks. So stick against a spear, spear's gonna win. So what they did is the other side got a big guy with a Nadachi, and now those two fought each other. Because if you have a really long, heavy sword, if you're going up against someone with another long, heavy sword, you're pretty even.
The Japanese version of the double
So
solder.
do they teach you all of the
Okay.
draw techniques and
Double
such?
solder.
Okay.
The guy
Those
who
are
wield the really big sword.
I had.
And he got paid double for it.
Okay.
There was one guy at our dojo that really liked the Japanese swordmanship and was trying to teach us the various draws for coming up from kneeling, of course, or even staying kneeling and drawing, and
There later on.
of course the sheathing too, where you flick the blade and
There's more than one sheathing.
there is.
I've done at least 3. I've done 3. That's why
I
know
wasn't
there's
very
3.
good at it, so I don't remember even how many he tried to teach us. I just remember the whole thing of clean the blade
Yeah.
before sheathing it, because you've got blood and gore on it.
Well, you see, blood and gore is really bad for your steel. Yeah, ironically enough. Just look at the irony.
So, we're in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Open your Golden Gate.
There's no Golden Gate Bridge yet.
I know. It's ferries at the moment.
No, I'm not going to make that.
They made,
Good.
They made there's an anime where it took place in 1928, and when I went to San Francisco, they run the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm like,
Is that like 10 years early?
well, 1935.
Okay.
7 years, okay.
I'm like, I don't think so. Obviously, someone in Japan didn't get
Hello.
their American history right.
No, none of this is for you. Absolutely none. I don't care.
So we're there.
Supposed
No,
to have 48 aspects, right?
Yep.
Right.
We're
Okay.
currently at a refresh rate of 48.
so we're about to go flying over the ocean, right? Is that the plan?
I don't think you
I don't
decided
think we
yet.
had decided that yet, but
You knew
it'll
that there was a
likely-
response ping, sort of, from
from
a radio that
about-
was southwest of San Francisco.
about in the direction of Hawaii.
And yes, but there's other stuff in that
There's
direction.
other
There's
things,
like
yes.
atolls and small islands.
And we had done the math and figured that, okay, we don't know the strength of the responder, but it's most likely going to be in this area.
We know the strength of the sender.
We don't know the strength of the sender. We
No,
know the
you know the strength of the San
the-
Francisco sender.
The
Mhm.
San Francisco sender we know.
Yeah.
So we know its effective range for a normal size and normal capabilities scope,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean radio receiver. However, given that Andromeda is working on a radio telescope, which is taking several radio receivers and ganging them up, she knows that it's possible to go beyond that.
Yes, I mean if you have an array or
Or-
whatever, yes.
You need a mad scientist to put it together for you, though.
In this era, yes, most
think you would.
definitely.
I don't think an ordinary engineering role would do it.
No,
I don't
no.
think so either.
Well, I repair automobiles.
So
I can
yes,
do
you
that.
should probably discuss what your next step is.
If we hold to just what's commercially available for radio products,
Uh-huh.
I got a feeling. Well, while you guys are figuring that out, I'm going to make a visit to the San Francisco Century Club.
Okay. Actually, the newest chapter of the Century Club is the San Francisco Century Club.
Is that where
It's-
Emperor
it's-
Norton hangs out at times? No.
You don't get any of this.
You know, if we could get him to transmit one more time.
It would be easy enough to insert another letter in a mail car on the way, but I'm not sure that the rest of it would be quite so easy.
You can just drop it into the
We-
post office.
We do need to. I do need to see the cipher machine used.
Oh, it'll be arranged.
Yep, that's something that should be arranged for tonight.
Because the office is open. That is-
Yeah.
We understand your
Mr.
views,
I have bird
and
worry.
please note that this is one time where she's actually suggesting this. As
Yes.
Jack is writing us down.
Put it on the calendar. Annie
Today-
wants you to use lock picking.
Wants me to perform breaking and entering.
Mm-hmm.
And I had,
Oh, that reminds me. I actually watched a YouTube lock picking video recently, which seemed to support my theory that picking a lock takes about 15 seconds. This experienced lock picker was picking this enormous padlock. I mean, it was literally like this big. And it took him like, well, a minute, but it was a very difficult lock. It had two keys. It was a double key lock, so
Okay, how many cylinders?
just the two.
Okay.
You can get a kit for practicing picking locks
Uh-huh.
from Touch of Modern.
Okay.
I believe that Minnesota law does allow you to own lock picking kits. Not all states do.
Yeah. That is
And you also cannot own them if you are a felon,
a
still on probation at least.
okay.
I never concerned myself with those aspects of the law for some reason. But
I had also suggested Annie make a strange piece of equipment.
I had forgotten what piece of equipment I wanted.
Something that
Oh,
would send out a
detect-
pulse.
Detect a receiver capable of.
Mm-hmm.
You do realize that one problem with that is the receiver will see the ping.
Well, if you used a horizontal beam, you would limit the receive field.
But
Yeah, if you're trying to stimulate a response, there is a high probability that the person on the other end is going to know they've been pinged.
the best I could do is disguise it as
Sunspot activity.
yes, some sort of naturally occurring burst. And if I do that at very low power, the chances of being detected are also lower. Because their own electronics may eliminate anything that is too mild a signal. The signal would be received, but the receiver would then ignore it because it didn't make its threshold.
Well, what you want to do is you want to send multi-frequencies with the blast. Nature doesn't usually.
Yes, I would. To disguise it as a natural occurrence, I would have to include more than. I would have to go over broad spectrum, but or have a naturally occurring radio event happen and observe disturbances in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the Aurora Borealis is
That far south.
that far south.
Well, you can get a lightning storm.
The lightning storm actually would work.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would.
How about going down to Mexico and setting up a really big and what would be in the U.S. illegally powerful transmitter?
They're not illegally powerful.
Oh, that's not.
It's
yeah, that's right, not yet.
1920s.
In 1924, it's
They aren't-
still all experimental.
But no.
Well,
There
There's
are
no FCC.
Yeah,
there
there's no
are
FCC.
areas that are thinking we really need to put in some sort of law, especially near New York. And where was Tesla's lab after they kicked him out of New York? You should know this.
Pennsylvania or something?
Menlo Park? No, that was Edison.
that's Edison.
That's
yeah.
Edison, his nemesis.
For some reason, I think he ended up in the Midwest somewhere.
Really?
I don't remember now. I've read multiple of his biographies, but right now it's escaping me. It was definitely a different state. I was thinking it was in the mountains, possibly in the Rockies, but
I was thinking, I think he ended up in Detroit. No, I'm not going to go look.
Well,
in any case, the Tesla has caused lawmakers to take pause and think that perhaps we need regulation.
Yes.
All on his own, he has done that. Let's see. St. Elmo's fire is not seen around Hawaii that I'm aware of. Not much.
Oh.
The lightning storms.
If you get the cipher machine, you can use it to decode what he sent, right?
Could you hand me a tissue, please?
All I really need to do is have some time inspecting it so that I can build one of my own.
So what I'm getting at is that we could just send our own message.
We could.
We don't have to put a letter in the post office and have
We
the guy
could.
go on a courier and bring it over there and have him type it out.
That's
We just do it ourselves. That's something done right. And that way we can get a second ping.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have to be something that would warrant such a close follow-up communication. Like
They disappeared again.
no, that would be a bad idea. One of them disappeared.
Mm.
And we're really clueless. Like say Edgy. Let's see, he's putting that there.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know why. See, that's what you want. Because that would warrant someone in receiving it would understand that, oh God. Yeah, so John Frank Edgy has disappeared, but the other two are still in New York and they don't seem to be concerned for some reason.
We don't get very concerned with when one of us disappears because it's become so common. Just like we're never worried when we don't know where the heck Jack is currently located because we can never keep track of him.
John Doe seems to be gone more often than he's with you guys, so.
And you guys complain about me, so
Well, I don't consider John Doe part of the core group. He is an ally that has worked with us.
Oh.
Because,
Okay.
well,
quite honestly, he's not around
well, when
that we know of,
when
or
Don,
that she knows of.
when Don was GMing, when I was GMing, John Doe was a hero all the time.
Yes.
Well, I should have to with Don.
No.
Oh,
Not when Don was GMing.
Yeah. He was a far better GM than a player. I really liked his GM. Player was really funny. He kept switching weapons all the time, and it's like, maybe you should take that stunt because you keep getting a penalty every time you do that.
The close at hand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it.
Well, he was kind of weapons guy.
I'm not much of a weapons guy yet.
Yeah.
I have one weapon I tend to want to use all the time. And as I recall, I even dropped weapons down in my pyramid.
So you go take a look at the machine, you build an imitation, and
Yep.
then we can send the signal to test the effectiveness of the machine that you built.
I
Well,
suppose
I think
that's
it's pretty-
true.
Yeah, the roll is high enough. We don't have to worry about that.
So let's see.
So, just let Jack know when he finally gets to the Century Club.
Just writing down a couple of aspects. I have 48 aspects now.
Sweet.
Somebody noticed
Colorado
there's
Springs.
a bungee cord hanging in
Colorado
midair.
Springs,
Can't
really?
see the guy.
That's a big move.
Can't see anybody on one end of it. Can't see what's holding it up at the other end of it.
Okay, you have made it to the Century Club, which has only been there since 1912.
There he could safely operate much larger coils than in the cramped confines of his New York lab, and an associate had made an arrangement for the El Paso Power Company to supply alternating current free of charge.
He had good connections with Westinghouse.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
basically made Westinghouse.
Yeah.
And when they nearly went bankrupt, he tore up his patent, allowing them to not have to pay him anymore. He was not a genius when it came to finances,
Well, yes.
which is why he died a pauper.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It's funny because I buy every Westinghouse train car that MTH puts out. I don't know, from childhood, I guess.
And at one point inadvertently burned out the generator in El Paso.
So,
Okay.
so they'll let me in the front door. I got
Absolutely.
a special key or something. Or
No.
Okay.
No. If you say that you're a member, they believe you.
And then check.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain circumstances where they wouldn't let you in the front door even if you're a member.
He's
Yes.
currently working in Shoreham, New York.
Like if I had my
Well, if you were George Brown, for instance.
okay, or if I had my
Send them around the back, would they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had my creature, which think about taking that million.
You're really taking
You're really
a
gonna do
Shoggoth as a pet?
that? No.
They wouldn't let you in either.
You're correct. Well, they wouldn't let your Shoggoth in.
They might want to know
in
where
an
he's going to.
ashtray.
They might want to know where the Shoggoth is going to stay.
Oh my.
I thought I'd drop him off in the nearest prison.
Well,
Yeah, throw
ruthless
a
justice, I
Yeah, throw a
suppose.
session.
Yeah.
Speed things up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'd be worse if you were a kindergarten class.
Yes. That would be worse, definitely.
So, hi.
The setup is very similar to the New York chapter. You enter, there's an entryway, you get past the entryway, there's a large sort of sitting room where there are books and newspapers and a bunch of chairs and side tables.
Yeah.
Just beyond that, there's a desk where the concierge sits.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's where I'm heading.
okay, heading to the concierge desk.
Good day.
Hello.
Uh,
How may I help you?
I'm here visiting
We've been
from
here
the
before.
New York branch.
Well, it's good to see you.
So
You
Yes.
you don't have an ID card. There is no ID card for the Century Club.
J.J. Spencer, but I'm known on the street as Shadow Jack.
Yes, sir.
I would like to get a room where I could make a long distance telephone call in private.
You're
Over-
speaking of more like an office or meeting room, and not a
Yes.
sleeping room.
Correct.
Okay, that's not a problem. Let me see if it's not a problem. That's not a problem. We do have a small office that you can use temporarily that does have a phone in it. It is not a dial phone, unfortunately. We have not upgraded yet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, not everyone has yet. It's gonna take a while. But once you do, that'll be the greatest thing ever. Nothing will ever beat that.
Nothing will beat the dial phone.
Rotary phone. It's just,
Well, it certainly does make it a lot easier, and you don't have to rely on people to connect your calls, unless you're making a long distance call, of course.
walk over to the luminary points it to me. I will sit down and I will get the phone and pick it up. I'll say, operator.
Distance New York.
This is the operator, yes?
I'd like to place a long distance call to New York.
Certainly, sir. I will ring you back at your number when the line is connected.
Thank you.
Okie So, about 10 minutes later, the phone rings.
Hello.
Hello. Is this the person who wanted to make a call to New York?
It is.
I was assuming New York City, is that
Correct.
correct? Yes. Your line is available.
Thank you.
New York operator, this is the San Francisco operator. This is the New York operator, yes. Sir, your line is available. And New York operator, what number do you want?
Bismarck 254.
Certainly, sir. And moments later, I assume you're calling Paris, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yes, the phone starts ringing. Ring, 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 ring. And one of the servants picks up. Yes.
This is Jack. Is Paris available to speak?
Paris is unavailable at the moment. She should be available within 5 to 10 minutes.
I guess I can call back. Oh, it might be a little longer than 5 to 10 minutes since I'm calling from San Francisco.
Well, you could just hold the line.
I could hold the line. I will hold the line.
Tremendously expensive at this stage.
Yes.
I'm not paying for it. The Century Club is.
Yeah, it's not his phone bill. What does he care?
I would still feel that. Okay, Annie wouldn't because she wouldn't be paying the phone bill. But I remember the days when you had to be careful about your long distance bills.
no, 10 minutes is very expensive.
Yes.
A 10-minute long distance call from San Francisco to New York. I mean, it took 10 minutes just to get that connected.
And it's preventing others from connecting over that circuit.
Yep. So yes, about 6 minutes later, you hear Paris. Hello.
Hi, Paris, Jack here.
Hi, Jack.
I'm calling from San Francisco.
Oh, are you coming home soon?
And no,
That wasn't the answer I was hoping for.
it wasn't the answer I was hoping for either. I'm not looking forward to traveling overseas, but unfortunately,
Oh my.
that's the way the wind is blowing.
Well, really?
However, I am keeping you informed of my progress.
Well, thank you. Do you have an estimate as to when you'll be back?
It depends on if we have to go all the way to Asia or not.
Asia. Really? Didn't somebody say something about Australia previously?
Well, it could be that too.
Really?
I think you have a deadline that will preclude both.
No, I'm the one that has a deadline.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have a deadline.
Neither I don't have a
Okay.
deadline. I'm just trying to maintain my relationship here.
Well, I guess I'll see you when you get back.
Well, since I'm out here in San Francisco, is there anything special here you'd like me to get?
Not, I mean, if you don't know how long it's going to be until you get back, no. If it was just going to be a day or two, there's a bakery there that has a very special bread that you can't get out here in New York.
Okay, well, maybe I can pick it up on the way back.
Okay.
Authentic San Francisco sourdough bread.
That's what I'm betting on.
Yes. That's what she said. She wants from a specific bakery their sourdough bread. It
Okay.
tastes different at each bakery,
Yes.
apparently.
Yes. No, the sourdough yeast has minor variations.
Yep.
Got
So
it.
yes, it does taste different from every bakery.
All right, got it.
And it's literally, in 1924, it's literally impossible to get it in New York City.
Well, it was a long time after that before they figured out what was so different.
Yeah.
If I happen to be in Hawaii, is there anything there you would like? I'm not sure we're going to Hawaii.
Well, it depends on how long you think it will take to get from Hawaii to here. But fresh pineapple would be very nice.
Ah, okay. Or Dole Orchard.
A case of fresh pineapple, not just one fresh pineapple. Well, I'm not sure bringing a tree would be good, but
Fortunately, you're riding in something that has a walk-in refrigeration unit.
but the thing is, even in refrigeration, if you have the pineapple in there for 2 weeks, it's
Yeah,
not
it
going to be
suffers.
fresh anymore.
It suffers.
Actually, you just put tomatoes in the refrigerator and take them off the next day. You always lost taste.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Anyway, so yes,
Okay.
pineapple.
So, well,
I don't know if there's anything from generic Asia or from Australia that I would really want. So, but yes, pineapple from Hawaii and this specific bread that I asked for from San Francisco.
Well, I will see what I can do. As the chase continues, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I hope you're successful, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't successful in that last one. Eventually, though, I will catch up to that murderer, and he will murder no more. Well, I thank you all the time, and I will be back as soon as I am able.
Okay.
Take care. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Phew. Okay, I'm not dead yet.
Do you want to make an empathy roll, though?
You should have me do before.
Well, this is you're
Reading
thinking
her.
about how the phone call went.
Now that roll.
Well, you have to tell me what you rolled. If it was negative, yeah. If it was like worse than mediocre, you're not even close. Okay, so yeah, you're not even close then. You needed at least fair, which is not hard to get.
-1.
-1 is not going to do it. No.
Yeah. Well, I
But it
get my,
wasn't bad enough for him to get it wrong.
No, that is true. Yes, it was merely poor. It wasn't. Yeah, awful would have given him the wrong impression.
She's just perfectly happy.
Abysmal would have been even worse. It would have given you the impression that could cause the worst possible outcome.
I don't have to get her anything.
Right. She didn't really want those things. Don't get them for her. All right. So, and I assume after that you just leave this the Century
I
Club
will.
and head back up to Annie's.
So, I will actually go back down, say thank you for the use of the office. Unfortunately, I think my companions and I are going to be leaving the city shortly. It was
Okay.
good to visit the newest chapter.
Well, we are much newer than most other chapters. Yes.
Now I can say that I've been to the newest chapter and the oldest chapter.
Really? Which oldest chapter? There are
Damascus.
multiple that claim
Well-
that they're oldest.
Well, I've been to the Damascus and the Athens one.
Oh, so you've been to both of them.
Yes.
Ah.
So, good day.
Good day.
Hello.
And taxi,
All right. Yes, you get a taxi to wherever you're going.
where the airship is parked.
Okay.
Basically. And
I don't think you've moved from above the post office, have you?
I probably moved to a nice park because, quite honestly, we don't want to just monitor the post office.
Well, you were talking about maybe putting another letter in the.
well, we could do that. And that would probably
And
be
you were also talking about getting a look at the coding machine.
Yes, the coding machine. Oh, is that? No, that isn't in the post office.
No.
That's in
You're
a
right.
separate.
Oh, that's
office.
right. It's in that office building.
Yes.
That's
That's
Yeah.
right. So you might be above the office
We're off
building.
above the office building.
We're probably around some park where it's fairly easy to let people come and go from the airship without attracting attention.
Maybe the park that will eventually become Golden Gate Park.
Whatever. A
Fine.
park. that-
A park. You're above a park where
Park.
there's at least some area that isn't obvious, so that people can like drop
Walk
down
around.
and then like walk out of the brush or bushes or whatever.
Mhm.
So once I get to the bottom, I'll say, "Have you made a decision yet?" Because tonight we're gonna do little. Well, we'll get you a. You'll be able to examine that machine.
Made a decision about. Well, first of all, she isn't necessarily there because she's got a shopping list.
Okay.
Well, if I can't get Annie, then I will get Simon. Are you there or not?
what is your shopping list? You haven't told me.
Basically, Simon's suggesting all sorts of radio gear, so I'm looking for base items that'll allow me to do the frequency spectrum analysis, the crypto machine, and directional radio transmitter. I'm not
Okay, so
sure
the-
which
the-
of these things might be part of my normal
The
communication.
crypto machine was entirely mechanical. There was no
So-
electrical electrical or electronic parts to
Yep. I start with a typewriter, evidently, but I
Mhm.
probably
Yes, and then
need some sort
there
of
there's lots
encoding
of gears. Yes, a lot of
So-
gears.
So I will need an assortment of gears and a typewriter for that,
Yes.
and then the workshop to put them together correctly once I examined the right one. And I will need a variety of radio equipment to be able to adapt it to the needs.
Okay.
So I am going looking for that sort of equipment.
All righty. Make a contacting roll.
That's just a fun night.
Well,
Not -3.
Why?
Only -1.
that's
Yeah, that'll
Probably.
take too long.
well. What is that as a result?
That would be average without a shift.
Oh yeah.
So let's bring it up to good.
Can you do it from the? Can you do a bunch of it from the airship?
Do you tag anybody to help you with contacting?
Well, Annie has been to San Francisco before, so she's got a general idea of
I mean,
where she would
one of
need
her
to
minions-
go.
Well,
One of her minions
just a
might
moment.
have a bonus for contacting.
Would he? I keep forgetting that.
if
group
you have
bonus.
a social,
I have a social, Bashar Chowdhury, my major domo.
then
so
if
that
you're
would be
with that person,
who is independent, so he can even come along.
you get that +1.
So
Identity is
that,
the fate point. It's great.
yeah. So
That would
that
make
would
it
bring
fair.
it to fair. It's still probably worth going to the great, just so I have a good idea where the heck I want.
All
So
right. At fair, it would take you an hour to find these places and to get what you want. So if you
I've
want-
got time.
At great, you find them in less than 5 minutes.
I've got time, or I think I have time.
Yeah, you're not rushed right now.
And then let's see how much pocket change I have.
So,
Oh, you're not doing the Jack thing where you sneak in and just take the stuff.
Leave money.
Oh, he leaves
Leave
money.
a buck
That's
and a
right.
half. Money.
You usually leave money.
So that's
Well,
resources.
the nice car
correct?
I used, I returned it to the post office.
Yes, great.
I left $5 in the seat for
You
the
didn't
gas.
say that you left any money.
I
I
always leave
assumed
money.
that you
I always
always
leave
put the car back, but you never say.
I always leave money.
He has many times left money. I don't know that he said it every time, but he has established a pattern of leaving money.
Yeah. Anyway, so how much money do you need?
Great.
That's way more than you need. There's no way that you would need, let's see.
Several $1,000s.
Yeah.
I can always ask Simon and Jack.
I can think of one way she might use several $1,000s.
Well, great is under 1,000.
Oh,
Okay.
great is
So-
under 1,000.
So you have several $100s,
Yep.
and this is reasonably common
Stuff.
electronics and gearing and a
Mhm.
typewriter.
You go to a Sears store and get a tape.
Yes.
I probably am going to the Sears store and picking up some of the gears. And other things
Actually,
as
you
well.
can get all of the gears from the Sears store as well. They
Yeah.
are used in clock repair, clock and watch repairs.
And wiring, probably not, but
No, you don't get the electronic items from Sears. I mean, you can get the electrical items.
I can get the electrical items, but,
But
not,
not-
the radio gear.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I am heading around town looking for those items, and well, it's Annie, so that she may get distracted by something else.
Okay.
And by now, all of you should know that you can call up to the airship to be let in or out.
Mm-hmm. So you are calling up to the
Simon.
airship, and Annie isn't there. She's off, apparently shopping with Chowdhury. And
Simon then.
all right,
Well, someone still answers at the airship.
Yeah.
Probably the pilot.
but he says, "Could I talk to Annie?" Annie's not here.
Yep.
Well, then could I talk to Simon, please? And
That
then they go
we
get
transfer.
Simon, and walk him through the security up to the radio area.
So, finally, waiting patiently.
Yes, Jack.
So I just called Paris. You might want to call for
Yeah, I should.
And also, so the plan tonight is to make a visit and copy the cipher machine, and then also duplicate the radio equipment. I understand,
Well,
or make a radio detector.
analyze the radio equipment.
Analyze and make some kind of a radio antenna detector thing, and then we could put in a fake letter so it follows the normal pattern into the post office. Guy gets it, gets a courier comes to the office, guy types it up just as normal. But this time we're ready and we can be in a different position, we can triangulate.
There's one small problem.
Okay.
It's way too early for another letter from what's his name.
And I thought about that. But what if there was like an emergency situation? Like with this letter comes like I don't suppose I had express mail back then, do they?
There you go.
Yeah. And it says something like John Francis Edison is like disappeared. But here's the thing. Simon Wells and Shadow Jack haven't, and they don't seem to be looking for him. So what's going on? That might be enough of a reason to send the letter like right after the other letter.
As I recall,
If you can think of a better
you
idea,
two were the principals that they were interested in.
three.
Yeah. It was-
Rick was also
No.
no. Simon
Edgy.
Edgy was
Yeah, Edgy.
also.
That's why I'm picking on AG because he's not here. He can't defend himself.
That too, but okay.
So if you can think of a better reason, I'm open for it. That's what I thought of.
Well, the next better reason is I've been arrested and I'm stuck in jail.
Okay.
They would allow sending a letter from jail.
Might not get a phone call, but we get if he'd be able to send a letter.
You mean the guy
They
who...
probably raise their eyebrows at the destination, but
Yeah, how is that going to help you?
yeah.
Sending a letter to Australia? Really?
That's where my lawyers are thinking.
Uh-huh.
My
So you
accountant's
mean
there with my
send the
money.
letter from the guy who was the lake?
Yes,
Yes.
because hopefully they don't know he's dead.
Well, I can tell you that the Chinese were not advertising the fact at all.
Yes.
That's a
Sending
better
another
idea.
letter has to come from the dead guy regardless.
Yep.
Because we have no idea who else they might have in town. So
I can.
the he's in jail has the advantage that
It
He could turn-
explains why the periodic reports no longer come in.
yeah, and it also could account for how he ends up dead.
Disappeared.
Yeah, he got he got on the wrong side of somebody inside, and they did something about it.
For that matter, the NYPD was known to misplace people for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
I'm in jail definitely has
Mhm.
advantages.
Yeah.
I will start on the forgery right away. I am going to have to forge a New York City postmark.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Just. Are we going to transmit the message?
This is Jack. He can walk out of the park to a New York Post drop
Oh,
it
yeah.
in,
Oh,
and
yes, you
come
can
back.
teleport to New York City.
I'm just trying to avoid that.
Drop it in and then steal it once it's canceled.
Actually, I thought about going to the post office in New York and just
Canceling it yourself?
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I would do actually.
Yeah, but
Well-
my idea is funnier.
No. I'm going for practicality here,
Okay.
but I have to start on the forgery right away, anyways.
Yes. So it's an art roll and a rapport roll.
That's why we can't send it.
Superb on the
We
art
don't
roll.
know what the right
Wow.
settings of the wheels are.
Yeah.
And a superb on the rapport.
Whoa, okay. You're pretty confident that that letter is very good.
I want to take one extra shift on each.
Oh my.
Just to rub it in.
Well, I mean, it's all of a piece, so one extra shift gives you a +1 on both of them.
Okay. So now it's fantastic.
Yes.
Good luck spotting that. Well, if he had good, he'd go to
It's
+4.
possible.
Most people talking about fair.
Quite honestly, the letter, given what we've seen, isn't inspected very closely, I don't think. So
It hurts.
the rapport was probably the more critical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't need a postmark. We just need photographs of the pages. And then our messenger delivers it to the
You're going to insert it later in the stream.
insert later in the stream.
I would prefer to do it from the
He
post
called to
office
come at 2:05 and said ready.
to follow the standard chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case someone calls,
Yeah, you'd have to
check
do
on
it.
it.
Part of it is
There
that he
is
ca-
the phone call from the office of the post
the guy in the post office.
guy in the post office.
Because the guy in the office who has the machine and the radio could call the post office and say, "Hey, did I get a letter from you?"
Mm-hmm.
And he'd say yes. If he said no, that'd be bad.
That would be bad.
And he'd say, "Why do you want to come so soon?" And he'd say, "I don't know." Well, he would say,
I didn't do it.
No. The post office would say, "Well, it says in the letter, or it says in the photos." You know why? But
So, yes, I mean, nobody's going to be calling back to New York to do a verification with the post office.
not as likely.
Yeah, but they might do it to
The local.
the local guy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make a local phone call to do a double check because this is a very unusual letter.
Well,
So,
I'm betting it wasn't that unusual for Big Sal to have some of his people end up in jail for a short time.
Very short time when, and it's Fat Sal.
Or
and
Fat
Big
Sal.
Tony, Big Tony's
Sorry.
dead.
Fat
But
Sal
Fat Sal, when he was in New York,
would take care of it.
everybody got out rather quickly. Unless they were, not in good terms with him. Sometimes, they screw up so badly that Fat Sal would just
him
let them stew for a
stew
while.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
Think
But-
about their life choices.
But generally, he had enough pull, and that's what you guys, when you were looking in
yeah,
Yeah.
I had discovered that it's bad to be a competent prosecuting attorney in New York.
Yes. Yes.
I should say
No.
competent and ethical.
Ethical, yes.
Because you're
Competent is just fine as long as you're not prosecuting
Yes.
any of.
As long as you're willing to look the other way at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
otherwise your life expectation, is kind of like the guy landing in World War One, where he leaves the boat and almost gets to the beach.
Okay. So, we have a point at which we are going to insert the letter into the stream.
So I am now going to visit a certain bakery in
Okay.
San Francisco.
Find out
day.
what's so good about this bread.
Yes, I would like to have a 3 loaves of this particular sourdough bread.
Certainly, sir. Have it. Here it is. Costs 15 cents a loaf.
Wow, that's great today. Good for Edgy, but
No, even Edgy would usually have 45 cents.
not many goes negative.
Well,
But frequently he has had a few dollars.
yeah. I mean, there have been times, yeah, even terrible, you would have the 45 cents. Yes,
So-
you'd have to roll like a -3 or -4 and have mediocre
That's
resources.
what he asked.
Yeah, I know. But then you don't roll -3 or -4 a lot, unless you're Brett.
I don't look that often. Usually just when critical.
Yes. Only when it's important. Then you roll those -3s and -4s.
So I'll pay the man, and I will leave, and I walk into an alley, and
Okay.
I will be near a. I'll be in an alley behind the post office nearest a police station that is sort of near the docks.
Okay.
Well, we know the station that takes care of the area where that diner was.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be.
Okay.
So I'm going to be behind the post offices in that area.
All right.
And then I'm going to stealth myself.
Okay.
I didn't say stealth myself, right?
Yeah, you did.
Out yourself. Stealth
Did I
yourself.
say
Okay,
something?
average normal people don't see somebody if they're even just great. Well, see, that's fantastic.
Oh.
So unless there is specifically a centurion or shadow looking for you,
Mhm.
no one is going to see you.
Understand. Just, so I will walk into the post office. I will go to the one of the machines. I will send it back to the day after we sent the first letter,
Okay.
and I'll stamp it, cancel it. I'll send it back to the correct
All right.
date. Do I have to
Make
do
an engineering roll.
Actually, I won't
Because
roll.
they are not made to roll back. They are made to go forward only. All right, that's good enough.
Great. I'm good.
Yeah.
So when
It takes you a few minutes to do that, though.
Then I will go and I will leave the post office. I'll go into the back alley, and I will teleport to outside the Vanderbilt's front door.
Okay.
Ding dong.
And a servant answers the door.
Hi, is Paris available?
Certainly, sir.
This,
From the voice, you can tell this is the same servant who answered the phone before. And who had heard the long distance operator saying that you were in San Francisco. So this person looks very confused.
I'm a man of many talents.
Well, come right in, sir. I'll go get Paris. So, Yes, Paris come. You're sort of in the entryway.
Yep.
Paris comes down
I'm in the hall.
and looks at you like.
Oh.
So you're back?
No, I'm.
What do you mean? No, you're right there.
I'm giving a pit stop, but I did get you some nice bread.
A pit stop?
I did get you some nice bread.
Were you lying to me? Were you not really in San Francisco? Down the street, maybe?
Look at this bread. Look where it's from.
Well, that's the right bakery.
Yes, that's the right sourdough.
And it's probably still warm.
It's still warm too, by the way.
She reaches out and touches it and looks at you again.
I had to pick something up in New York, and so I thought I'd just drop this off.
So when you say that it might take you a long time to get back, you're just lying, aren't you? Because you could get back immediately.
Technically,
You could spend all the time you want here. And then when they need you, they could ask for you, and you could be there with
I
them.
rolled great, good in my report here. Let me use a fate point here.
You must have some aspects for Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to use one of them right now.
I do have
I get.
I do have one. Failure is not an option.
Okay.
So that pops you up to superb.
Well, that's good enough. What are you trying to report her about?
Okay, what I had to do is I had to pick something up in New York, which I was not planning on having to do. Unfortunately, tracking the quarry is not something I can do instantaneously. It's going to take, unfortunately, a lot of time. How much
But
time?
they don't need you to track the quarry. They just need you when you find the quarry. Isn't that correct?
Not exactly. They do need me there because I'm the one who can sneak in and out of places.
When you were traveling from New York to San Francisco, how much sneaking out of places did you do? Sneaking into places did
In
you
San Francisco, quite a few.
do? No. Between the two.
I had to do some sneaking in some of the train stations as we were switching trains.
Okay. Well, I still think you could spend almost all of your time in New York City and then just show up when they need you.
Well, the trouble is that they needed me. They'd have no way. They have a very difficult time getting a hold of me. As you know, long distance is not what you call.
Make a deceit roll. Because that's a lie.
Okay. Oh, much better liar. Yeah, I am.
Okay, well, you have convinced her. Because Jack knows that Annie could use her radio equipment to call the New York City chapter of the Century Club on their radio equipment.
Has done so.
Literally from anywhere on the continent and even quite a ways out onto the ocean.
Okay, well, Steve forgot that, so maybe I forgot that, unfortunately.
And in fact, you guys have made
Communication rolls from longer.
continent to continent long distance calls by using the radio equipment at the New York City Century Club to call, say, the Paris Century Club.
Okay.
So that's why you just had to make a deceit roll, because Jack knows exactly how they could contact you immediately. So if Steve didn't know that, no, I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, let's see what we can do. I'd have to make a long distance phone call, unfortunately.
That's fine.
The phone, I'm assuming it's not a rotary dial? It is a
No, it is a rotary dial.
Oh, high tech here.
You don't think that the Vanderbilt residents would not get the newest phone?
Okay. Well, not everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of places in New York City that haven't upgraded yet, but this place absolutely has.
So how it works in the modern world is that you call your central office. That central office calls the other central office, and that central office then calls the phone.
Right.
That's how it works in.
Yeah, what you're doing is you're calling, if you're making a long distance phone call, you dial the operator first.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forget.
And then the operator starts finding some other operator who can
Right.
make the next connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why it takes 10 minutes to make a long distance phone call. 10 minutes of waiting for it, basically. And then they ring you back.
The provincial number is going to be the number in the airship.
There's only certain circumstances when
Yeah,
that works.
that's
However,
not
if
always
there
set up,
is a
unfortunately.
radio at the San Francisco Century Club, which wasn't mentioned one way or the other, they could do the radio connection easily.
Okay, well, this is not going to be as easy. I'm going to leave now, but if it ends up that we're not going to go anywhere, well, I have to do something tonight in San Francisco.
Okay.
I'm the only one who can do it.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, we might be meeting the next morning. So, the only thing I can think of doing is that I could, well, since there's such a 3-hour time difference here, actually, we could go out really for a quick, we could do for a short evening. We just couldn't go to like 1 in the morning.
It's only about 70%. San Francisco is only about 70% as far from New York as Paris.
Yes,
Well, it's 3 hours difference.
it's
So-
3 hours difference. Yes.
So,
9 o'clock at New York will be 6 o'clock, which means it'll be dark, but we can wait a little longer before we make up.
anyway,
decision.
calling Annie is a problem because she has to actually connect to a radio
Or
to have a number.
yeah.
She doesn't normally do
she
that.
she has a radio frequency that she is generally contacted on.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it's like in the 70s when my dad was able to call telephone numbers from the car. I'm sure it was.
You could call the Century Club and ask them to send
I
a
thought
message
about
to
Yeah.
Annie using said frequency.
that. I
Yep.
thought about that, but I figure I'm there. I might as well spend some time with her and then leave.
Okay.
That'll probably make her much happier.
Well, she's got this nice warm sourdough bread. Or we could just stay inside.
Sure, let's stay inside tonight. Yeah, it's actually closing in on. I mean, it's late afternoon right now.
Early afternoon and stuff.
And you just disappeared again. Without any knowing where you went.
Uh-huh. Well, that happens with Jack
That
all the
happens.
time.
Yes.
So, yes, you spend a nice evening with Paris. And now we're going to go to
Back to
Simon.
Backtrack in time to Simon.
Simon, yes.
So after the discussion with Jack,
Yeah.
I get a ride down to I hitch down to the surface
Okay.
and go off to the Century Club,
Okay.
wherein I shall say hello to the concierge
All right.
and make basically the same request. I need to make a long distance call to New York and would like some privacy.
Certainly, sir. We have an office that you can, a small office that you
That
can
will be fine.
I know exactly where the key is.
use. Yes.
And
That's important.
I go into the office and I get the operator
Yep.
and I tell them I want to New York. I want to call to New York.
Okay.
Popular.
It's not that unusual.
Actually, it wouldn't be that unusual. It is a major center
yeah,
of.
San Francisco is a major place, and New York is a major place. They make connections to New York all the time.
Uh-huh.
maybe not all the time, twice in one day from the same line,
But
Right.
but it's not that unusual.
and honestly, the Century Club makes phone calls all over the world, I would guess. So it
Well-
is-
Well, you can't use the normal phone system to call any place off of the North American continent.
oh,
There is no
Yes.
transatlantic
No
one.
There's no
Transatlantic.
trans-Pacific or transatlantic line. When you're doing that,
Okay.
you're using the radio
Radio
equipment to
equipment.
call another
Radio.
Century
I
Club,
hadn't
and they make a
realized that the
connection.
transatlantic wasn't laid yet.
Not like that, no.
No,
When does that get laid?
not in 1924. I can tell you that.
think
Well,
it's-
Hawaii #1 was laid in 1957.
Yeah, but the Pacific was way behind the Atlantic.
Yes.
That's because it's bigger.
That's
Fun.
part of it.
And plus, we, like everybody in the room, have ancestors from Europe, not Asia.
Transatlantic telegraph cable.
So after the 10 minutes goes by, and
So
your line is-
1858 is the
15.
first
Yep.
Telegraph cable.
telegraph cable. It
That-
functioned for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
1927
not yet. Not in
for the
1924.
telephone service.
Not in 1924.
Yeah, they kept repairing and relaying because that telegraph service was just too important.
Anyway, so yes, you can't make a transatlantic phone call through the normal phone system, but you can via
Radio.
the radio. Well, the not even normally via radio, but the
The
Century Club
knows something.
knows how to do that.
Century Club has had mad scientists for who knows how long, and
Yes.
God only knows how long they've had the next best thing to instantaneous communication between branches.
So,
But we don't officially know that.
so you are calling New York, and yes, it takes. Well, let me check how long it takes to. Yeah, actually, it takes only 5 minutes.
Okay.
To get a line. So you say you want a line to New York City. They say we will ring you back when we have gotten a line, and faster than you would normally think, you get a ring back.
And I
the
totally-
various operators say things.
Uh-huh.
It's not important that it's basically
Right.
the same thing that when Jack was making the phone call. And then you say to the New York City operator, what number do you want?
And I give them the Rockefeller number, and I
Oh.
don't remember. Simon certainly knows what it is, but Scott
Yes,
doesn't.
obviously. So, certainly, sir. Let me ring that number, and the number's ringing, ring, 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 and somebody picks it up. It's one of their servants. Hello. Yes. How may I help you? Who is this?
Hello, this is Simon Wells calling from San Francisco. Is Cornelia available?
I'm sorry, sir. She's out right now.
Well,
Message.
please tell her that I called, and I will. I will send a follow-up telegram. Thank you.
Certainly, sir.
And then I go off and
Send
send
telegram.
telegram.
Okay.
Which they can probably do in
Thinking
the
of
Century Club.
you.
Uh-huh.
Well,
when
your
I
call
find-
costs a lot less than his call did.
Yeah. And I just hate to think of how much trouble I'm going to be in when Harris tells Cornelia about Jack.
Jack, you have never demonstrated any ability for instantaneous transport.
This is true, but why couldn't I have come with Jack?
Jack didn't tell you. Quite honestly,
Well, yeah, there is that.
Jack was swear.
Jack. Did what?
However, that doesn't come off as well when it's a long distance communication. Surprises.
All right. What are you saying in the telegram? Remember, this needs to be brief. Telegrams can't be very wordy.
In San Francisco, looks like next stop Hawaii.
Yes, you.
Love you. Will contact you as soon as I can.
All right.
Technically, you didn't have to say in San Francisco because the telegram.
The telegram will
indicate
have
Yeah.
that on there.
and people were very terse over the telegram.
Yeah, there's a maximum limit of words, and there's a charge per word. So
Right.
He doesn't care about the charge per word.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you're
But-
rich.
But still,
You're really, really rich. I mean, maybe not Betty level rich, but
but,
still.
but you have ways to achieve purchases of
Yeah, well, yeah.
magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
So, cashes in all those bonds.
Yes. But if Betty rolls a +4, she gets godlike. So I mean, above that, it doesn't really matter.
That is really impressive, being able to hit godlike.
For
And she comes back and says, I just bought Hawaii.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. I mean, legendary. It says money is no object. So, above that, you can pretty much buy anything
That's for sale.
that is purchasable. Yes. What does it say you can buy with legendary money? It gives you like a list of things.
Yeah, it does.
A personal island or a zeppelin.
I found it easier to just
Take this
repair
down.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just take this
If
down.
I can tag best that money can buy,
Yeah.
I can hit godlike +1.
Ooh. But godlike +1 and godlike are there's no significant
Yes.
difference because I mean you're there's nothing for sale that costs more than godlike.
you start a bidding war over the moon.
I would know better than to start a bidding war over the moon. Well, okay, no, I might not know better than to start a bidding war over the moon. If I found out the wrong person was trying to buy it and thought he might do something about it, I
Yeah.
might buy the moon to protect the Amazons.
The man who bought the moon, yes. What was it, the man who sold it?
The Heinlein is the man who sold the
The
moon.
whole man who sold the moon, that's right.
Delos D. Harriman.
So, yes, and on a telegram, I'm not going to make you make a rapport roll because it's almost impossible to do a decent rapport roll on a telegram.
Mm-hmm.
Phone calls, it's the line quality can make it a little harder. You might get a negative environmental aspect. But telegrams, unless you're sending several series of them. So, you sent your telegram.
Then I'll go back to the airship and I'll write a letter.
Okay. Letters you can make rapport rolls on. So, what is the gist of the letter?
Missing you.
Okay.
Hope that it doesn't take us too long.
Okay. I assume you're wearing the correct jewelry for rapport
Yes. Yes.
when you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can make the roll.
Yes, make a rapport roll. I can't imagine you're going to make a bad one, but
No. That would be legendary.
yeah, that you're pretty confident in that letter. So you've written the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to go down to the San Francisco post office and post it, or you're gonna magically cause it to, show up
I'm
in her
going to
mail?
post. I'm going to send it via the post office.
Okay. So it will take a few days or several days, depending on what route it takes,
Right.
to get to her. Whereas the telegram is,
It'll
already
get
there.
there today. Yes. It's already there. It may not have been it may not have been received, but it has been delivered.
Right. Yes, it's already at her house. I mean, her mansion. So.
Radio telephony to Hawaii dates from 1915.
Okay.
From, U.S. Naval Station in Arlington, Virginia to Hawaii.
Wow.
That is a long distance call.
Yeah.
Long distance call.
I wonder if it went through a repeater in San Francisco.
Could have been. Yeah, I know this song about it, so I had to look it up.
Okay.
Anything you're doing in San Francisco?
Yes. Is there anything that Rick is doing in San Francisco? Leaving your heart, possibly.
Well, in some parts of San Francisco, you'd leave a lot of other body parts, so why not? Let's see. It is a Wednesday afternoon, I think. Tuesday. somewhere. I know it's middle of the
It
week.
is Wednesday, the
Wednesday.
20th of February.
It's 200 or 300 miles shorter to go from San Francisco to Hawaii as compared to New York to San Francisco. The one's about 2,500 miles, the other's about 2,300 miles.
What am I doing in New York?
No,
No,
San
not probably
Francisco.
nothing.
20, not a whole, excuse me.
In San
I
Francisco,
can't be in New York. Somebody went to New York without us,
Uh-huh.
Without even notifying us.
without even letting us know, so
We don't know he's even there.
I think I'm going to take my camera and go photograph the bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kill time.
Enjoy life.
Enjoy that.
Okie
what's
dokie.
Alcatraz being used for nowadays?
Not much.
Okay.
I think mostly it's a roosting place for
Birds.
birds, the occasional seal.
They haven't made a prison there. Yeah.
Not
Not for
yet.
another 20 years.
No, Capone spent time in the boat.
Yeah, after 1947.
Really?
Because they didn't set up the federal prison there until 1947. I think that's correct.
Because I've been out
Federal
west.
prison from 1934 until
34. Okay.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So, but still, that's a decade away.
Yeah. But I've actually been out Alcatraz and I actually walked by Al Capone's cell.
Ah.
Been there.
what?
Actually, I think at this time it's still a
Military?
defensive structure.
Yeah.
A fort. Or maybe it's an abandoned fort.
As I noticed,
Oh, that's right. It was made with bricks, which kind of made it useless with rifled cannon.
All right. Anybody doing anything else that
a
afternoon?
prison right now.
It
It
is.
is?
It is
State?
no. The Western U.S. military prison.
Oh, it's a military.
Later,
prison.
Pacific Branch U.S. Disciplinary Barracks.
Okay.
The U.S. Disciplinary Barracks was deactivated in October 1933 and transferred to the Bureau of Prisons.
Okay.
It's been
It's not a normal prison.
Yeah, it's been a prison since 1868.
Well, it is hard to get to and
Yeah, and hard to get off of.
hard to get off of.
I forgot that it was a prison. A military prison. Oh dear.
Okay, so the afternoon goes by otherwise uneventfully. And you have a nice evening with Paris at home.
Oh,
We
Is
also
this what you want to have
the
happen?
resupply of the airship, of course, because, well,
You're going to
It's
be over
hard
the
to-
ocean for quite a
hard
while.
to resupply anything but fish well over the ocean.
Yeah, fish, huh? Fish is good for you.
Yeah, we
Just
usually don't
Need a
fly
really
that low.
long reel, long
We
line.
usually
Line.
don't fly that low.
Yes.
And there's plenty of good fish available
You
in San
fly, you
Francisco.
fly high enough so that you don't have to worry about
Waves and
and ships being close enough to actually see you. So, anybody doing anything on the night of the 20th?
Yes.
I assume you are teleporting back.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Teleport to the woods underneath the airship.
Did you establish a particular place in your airship for Jack to teleport back to?
no, I
Okay.
did not.
All right.
I know
How-
what the ship looks like, though. I've been in it enough times.
But you're teleporting to the park.
I'm in the park.
However, I would make the main area of the guest area, the suite area, someplace that does not actively try to prevent his activities.
Okay.
Or where that big circle used to be.
Nope, that's the cargo bay.
that's the cargo bay. She's talking about.
I'm talking about the section
quarters.
with
The-
guest
the
quarters.
Okay.
the
And
lounge in the guest quarters.
Yes, the lounge and the guest
Well,
quarters.
you had a guest in the cargo bay for a long time.
Yes, and I didn't like that.
Anyway, so you're in the park.
Mm-hmm. So I'll get on the radio and I'll see if Andy's back now. Andy, this is Jack.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
You've been out all day, it seems.
Yeah, I've been.
Okay.
And,
Want me to drop a cable or anything?
yeah. So when do we want to do our?
Where's the letter right now?
The letter?
I have to drop the letter off to the post office.
Oh,
Let me go
okay.
grab a cab and go do that. I will be back, but I'm thinking maybe we not want to wait till like maybe 11 o'clock tonight to break in to do our.
Okay, well,
yeah.
supper will be in another hour approximately. If
I
you
should
want
be-
it here. Otherwise,
I should be back by then.
Okay.
So I walk the street and taxi.
All right. So you're unstealthing yourself. Oh wait, you already did that to talk to
to talk
Paris.
to Paris.
Okay.
Take me to the this size post office.
All right. You're there.
Okay, are they open?
Yes.
Has the
It's not late enough for them to be closed. It's well. If are you going to the main post office, the one that you were doing stuff in before, or a different?
That's where the
post
guy was who.
office?
Did
Okay,
the
so
post
you're
office.
doing the main post office.
Yeah.
That's actually open later than
Yeah.
the other branches are.
So
So if you wait a couple hours, it'll close. But right now, it's open.
so I will stealth myself. And this time I rolled much better.
Okay.
So
All right.
and I remember where it was before. Basically, it got put into a sack of international mail.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been delivered to so and so's desk yet?
It goes through the machine to get to his desk.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been put into the machine yet? The international mail into the machine?
is there international mail waiting to be processed?
Is there international mail waiting to be processed? No.
I will have to come back tomorrow.
What time does the train get into New York?
No, not from New York, from
Salt Lake
Kansas
City.
Salt Lake
Salt Lake
City. Salt Lake City.
Okay, I had a delay. But now I know I can't do it today, I'll have to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
I do remember what time the train came in when we were there.
Yes.
So I just have to show up approximately that time or a little before.
Mm-hmm.
So I will then walk out and I will go a couple blocks away, duck through an alley, come out unstealth,
Okay.
and taxi
All right.
take me to such and such park.
Okay.
Now,
You're there.
for maximum cinematicity, what we should do is arrange to be flying over the train from Salt Lake City tomorrow morning, lower Jack down to it, let him sneak onto the train, sneak into the mail car, slide the letter into the appropriate mail bag, and then pull him off of it.
If he wants to, I have no objections.
Yeah, I've been following the process pretty closely.
Episode 2 of Firefly,
The train robbery.
And
the
Robert,
train robbery. Yeah.
I loved that they did a train robbery.
I think that was the first one aired, though. Because they aired them out of
They
order.
yes, they did.
aired them out of order. They most
And they-
definitely aired them out of
and
order.
they didn't even air them all.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think we have a nice supper, discuss the day's activities. I confirm with people.
Does Jack let
before
people know that he had teleported to New York and spent a few hours there, or not?
If no one asks him, he's not going to mention it.
Okay. People basically don't ask you where you've been because they realize you could have been standing right behind them the whole time. All right.
And I'm looking forward to investigating this machine you described tonight.
Okay. So nothing else really happens before 11 p.m. and then you head down to the office building, re-stealth yourself, and hush Annie, I'm assuming.
Yep. Anyone else want to come?
Okay.
I'll bring a new notebook so I have plenty of room.
That would be godlike.
Okay. You stealth yourself so well, you can't even see yourself.
Hard to open that door. Can't see my arm to grab the door now.
Feel around for it. Make a burglary roll. No, it's not a very high bar.
Wow. That'd be superb.
That's you bump it and it opens.
You want photos of this thing as well? Or are you
Yeah,
just going to dive?
That would be nice.
Okay, so you get in. Jack points at where there's this box on sort of a cart, a rolling
Check.
cart.
Check to make sure there's no
Alarms.
alarms or pieces of hair or anything as far as
Okay, so you're
any-
doing an
an
investigation.
investigation to determine that they aren't they haven't made sure that no one disrupts it. So yep, put on the goggles and do
You're doing an
the-
investigation as well?
Yeah.
So you're both going around it.
Yep.
Okay.
oh, I get it. Well, okay, so I got
Looks like you did rather well.
yeah. I think it's fantastic, isn't it? 6.
Yes.
Yes, fantastic.
So both of you are certain that there's no like hair on it or something like that.
lift the backs up and look over the gears and probably an engineering.
Make an engineering roll.
Okay. So, like.
As I said, it's pretty complicated.
That could have been better.
I'll fix that.
I think I'll just spend a
Plus two.
point. It's on my list.
Okay.
It actually is on my list.
So what does that make it?
Okay. Engineering, so that would turn it to a +1, which is superb, and then if Spirit of Discovery applies, which
Yeah,
is
you have not seen
questionable.
an encoding machine like this before.
Okay, then it's
Fantastic.
then
One
it's
higher.
fantastic.
I thought.
Okay, engineering,
It's only
right?
+1 for a spirit bonus.
Yep. So
Okay.
the plus, I rolled a -1 with the fate point. It brings it up to superb, and then the spirit brings it up to fantastic.
Okay, so this is when you start looking at it, you realize this is going to take a while because you have to dismantle it.
Oh, that's even better.
Because a lot of the gearing
You
isn't
can't
visible
That's
from,
fine.
from the exterior.
I will take careful notes.
So the base time on this is an hour, but the difficulty level, the target is good.
Okay.
So,
And Rick is taking pictures of your assembly process and
Mm-hmm.
disassembly process.
So
Yeah.
3 shifts from good. At least one
see.
one
15
shift is
minutes, 4 minutes, and you're using one shift for.
to be able to reassemble it perfectly so it doesn't look like it was taken apart.
Okay. Do you care if the gears are in exactly the same position?
I'll use another shift to make sure that they're back.
Okay, so
in
that's
the-
2 shifts. That means you're using 1 shift per time,
okay.
which means it's going to take 15 minutes
Darn.
to disassemble, examine, and reassemble it exactly how it was.
I'm willing to have it take longer. I just am not sure what I would use another shift on in order to.
Well, you don't. I mean, it's not a requirement to use shifts to reduce time. You
Yeah,
could
I'm-
just say it takes an hour.
Annie takes an hour at it,
Okay.
and that is including making sure that she doesn't leave evidence and gets the gears exactly back where they belong.
Oreo is chasing his tail.
Which is something I haven't seen him do before.
Just discovered he had one.
Hey, how are you? How's your tail?
Being elusive.
A lot when we first got it.
Okay. I'm curious. Is there anything that indicates who might have designed this?
It's a Swiss manufacturer,
Oh,
but you don't know specifically who, but you know that a number of the gears are marked in a way that indicates Swiss manufacturer.
probably a clockwork someone who does clock.
Yes. Looky here. Boy.
And it's obvious from looking at it, this is custom manufactured. There's
Yeah.
no, like I said, you've never seen anything like this before.
I wonder how many of them they have made.
At least 2.
Yes.
Yes.
That is the next question. So,
None of the
Can-
gears
can-
are anything especially special, by the way. It's
Yes.
all regulation gearing.
that makes it much more convenient. Okay. Do I need a different method to decode, or is this machine able to?
This machine will decode as well as encode.
Okay. That is sort of an important thing to know.
Absolutely.
And it didn't have to be symmetric, so. Okay, well, Annie is happily disassembling and reassembling,
Okay.
and marveling at the engineering.
Yeah, there's like a big lever. Well, not big, but There's a lever that you switch from
between
encoding and
encoding
decoding.
and decoding. Okay. Please get a picture of this.
Yes, this gearing assembly is very interesting. I mean, the gears themselves aren't, but the gearing assemblies are
Yeah.
very unusual and interesting. Okay,
So-
I need to take a short walk.
Yes.
Excellent idea, you bringing a camera. We'll pop it into the developer.
While we're here, may as well develop the film.
Oh no, I have a better developer on the ship.
You also need to take pictures of all the other equipment.
Other equipment?
Radio.
There's the radio.
This is where the radio is.
That's right. That's right.
This is where the transmitter is.
Yes.
Dad, you stopped rubbing my tummy.
Have to go photograph that too. I worry about people who worry about their equipment enough to put booby traps on it.
They didn't. That we found.
Can you get down?
We couldn't remedy that situation.
No. This is a work of geoengineering. It is quite remarkable.
It'd be a pity to see it blown up.
Yeah.
I was just thinking a little thermite in the transceiver
No.
with a radio detonator.
However, if we find the other half of it, there's nothing that says we couldn't make a donation to the Century Club when we have both machines.
You got a trophy room.
Leave one in San Francisco, the other in New York.
Mm-hmm.
If we happen to come across another machine.
Certainly seems like something we're going to be attempting to do.
Yes, it does. So, having examined that, I'll now examine the radio setup to see if it's anything unusual.
Other than the frequencies are not normal frequencies, it's very standard.
Did it need a special crystal for the frequency?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not. Well, that's one way of doing it. The AM
Well-
band was set the range
Yeah.
by the variable inductor.
Okay.
That was the range that they could get.
Yep.
All right.
But you can also use crystals to affect it. Needing a special crystal would make it more difficult, and I'd have to go shopping tomorrow to get the correct crystal.
Or you could make one yourself.
I
but
could draw one myself, yes.
Yes, it's easier to find. All right. So yes, you examine the radio and go, oh yeah, that's pretty standard. There's nothing bizarre or weird. You don't need a mad scientist for this.
Okay. Great. Do a double check on my notes and say, well, this was fun. I think I'm done here.
Okay. Well, I'll lock up. Oh, I missed the international mail pickup. So I guess now it's going to be the next day, right? 'Cause we got
Yes.
to 11 minutes, so it took an hour, and so later today, I'd like to have the airship hover over the train from Salt Lake, and I can sneak into the mail car and drop off the letter into the proper bag,
Well,
and it'll go right through the normal channels.
I have the schedule for the train that we were following up in the airship. Assuming that it's similar each day, we can figure that out.
Mhm.
So we leave, we get back to the airship. I look up the train schedule I had originally looked up.
Mhm.
We figure out when in the morning we'd have to be there.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of early in the morning. I mean,
Okay.
it's really early in the morning if you're silent.
Hey, no,
And,
anyway.
and rather late at night if you're Jack.
Yes.
I
If Jack
will,
has a stunt where he can blow it off.
I will make arrangements with my staff so that the pilot will be awoken in time to get us there.
Okay.
And then I will go to my lab.
All right.
It's fun. Actually, it's midnight.
Yeah, you probably want to go to bed.
I'll go drop off the notebook in the lab.
Well, since it is after midnight, it is the 20th.
Are you also going to get the film and drop that off in the lab also?
I suppose I can develop the film. That should only take a few minutes.
Okay. She's probably got a machine. Not this,
She does. The last time it was remarked that
But where's the artistry?
Yes,
Artistry to
that's
a
important.
it
science
was
person, right,
science,
sure.
I believe.
Okay, I think it's time to throw this calendar away.
It does kind of look like it.
Remember that.
It's science to develop film, right?
Is it science or engineering?
Depends. Do you have a machine to do it? If it's a machine to do it, then it's
We said I
Engineering.
had a machine.
So it's engineering. and it's a really low target because you have a machine to do it.
Yeah, it's only a great result.
Well, that's 3 shifts on what you needed.
See, so developing film, there's not a lot of art involved, but making prints, there can be a lot of skill involved.
When you are only trying to recreate the image on the negative, I agree. But there are certain things you can do while developing that are really artistic, and
You're not doing
I'm not doing those.
those.
Usually not when you're developing the film. Usually it's when
But
you're
you can do
developing.
color shifts and stuff, and also double exposures.
That's
Yeah, you're not doing any of those
I'm not
things.
doing any of those, but you can do that during development as well as during photography. Still, yeah, I'm not doing any of those. So yes, it's what 3 shifts makes it probably 15 minutes. It's about an hour to do the whole process.
Well,
with
one
them.
shift is 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Well, okay. So it was a 30-minute base.
Sorry, an hour. So that's 2 shifts. I keep forgetting that there's a weird.
4, 15, 31.
Yeah.
So you got 3 shifts off of on
An
1
hour.
hour, which means it was done in 4 minutes.
Okay, that's what it was last time too.
Yeah, take the film, put a little black thing, whirl.
And it comes out the other side as prints.
Oh, I'm doing it manually, sorry.
Yeah, she's not doing it manually. She just inserts she makes sure it's dark. She takes out the film. She sticks it in the machine, closes it. She can turn the lights back on, and 4 minutes later, the prints come out.
Still drying.
But there is no art to this.
No.
No, you don't have settings on this machine to
Nope.
set the sepia tone or whatever.
Nope.
you
You
know.
see, double exposuring is when you're making prints, not when you're actually developing the negative.
Anyway,
But
You are
like I
correct.
said, sepia
Yes.
tone is if you're shifting the color palette.
Mhm. And we're doing black and white anyways.
See,
I
you
was
are doing
thinking
black and
color
white.
shifting black and white. That's kind of
Yes, shifting it to a color.
You can.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can do you can
Off
print with blue.
topic,
You
so
can
let's
you
get
can do
back-
sepia or ferro, the blueprint. You can actually make pictures as blueprints. And you can, I guess, they're kind of a blue tone.
All right, so you have done that. It's very exciting.
Yep.
Or actually pretty boring and dull.
Well, it took a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get bored by that. And then I'll head to bed because
Okay.
it's past my normal bedtime.
Yes. Is Jack spending any time the rest of the night doing anything that we care about? I mean, you can work out in an exercise room, possibly. I don't know if Annie has an exercise room.
Probably.
Yeah, but does she have an exercise room that would give Jack a workout?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You need at least a great quality exercise room to do that.
You know, you spend time in the cargo area moving giant boxes around.
You're not supposed to go down in the cargo area by yourself.
I like to go to the cargo area, Annie, because then I can get a decent workout.
Don't have equipment for you to get a workout in there.
Why don't you move ships around down in the harbor?
You've moved ships before.
Yeah.
I gotta leave and go down and get to the harbor, and it's like, okay, fine. They will just sit there and
Or there's a train yard. I mean, you know where the train yard is.
Yeah.
fine, I'll go to the train yard.
That's your normal way to work out.
So now the Southern
One of
Pacific
your
will be all screwed up, and the Union Pacific will be all screwed up, just like the New York Central,
You don't
Pennsylvania
have
is.
to put them in a different location. You can put them back where you held them.
That's no fun.
That's what his parents kept telling him.
No, I think what he does, there may actually be one train that ends up back in the same location. It's the one right smack dab in the middle. Because he takes this one and puts it over here, and then takes this one and puts it over here, and
Well, he's moving like cars to different sidings and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So, yeah, they can all get moved.
Yep.
Anyways, I have nothing further until
Yeah,
morning.
you sleep away the night. It is morning.
Yay! Check with the pilot, see if there was any problem, and
No.
apologize for the early wake up. I didn't know ahead of time we would need to do this diversion. And then,
Okay. I mean, I'm used to waking up early. It's fine.
and then we have breakfast, and I think Jack has to jump out of the airship sometime while we're still having breakfast.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, you don't need to. Your athletics is high enough. You don't care. Edgy would.
Yeah.
But I think he's really the only one.
Well,
Mine's at great.
you see, you have enough experience in gaming to put your athletics higher. Martin, on the other hand, well, not only does he have it at fair, he refuses to move it up.
Different characters have different things they want to be
Different
good at.
priorities. Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, though, you throw an explosive at him.
Don't do that. Just like if you are playing Pathfinder and have a poor fortitude save, do not go up and melee the poisonous creature.
Except that Martin seems
Will-
to want to get into combat when combat is
but-
occurring.
But Martin will charge ahead. That guy's got grenades and explosives. I don't care.
Okay.
He just goes for it.
Well,
I never fault Edgy for his bravery. Intelligence, maybe, but
wisdom,
Wisdom. Yeah.
common sense, or lack thereof.
Uncommon sense is more what it is.
What is happening there?
A weather mishap with the USS Los Angeles.
caused it to go like this.
Yeah. I have never
Wow.
never seen
Yeah,
that before.
No, I think I have seen that
I think
one.
I have seen that picture.
Yeah, don't moor too close, too firmly.
Yeah, that had to be a little. If anybody was on that at the time, it had to be a little
I
difficult
imagine
for
there
them.
were people on it at the time.
Being a U.S. naval airship, I imagine it had somebody standing watch on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was not a,
And they probably couldn't get it unmoored in time.
Yeah.
You know,
probably
which means
not.
that
It took a while to unmoor, as I recall.
Now this means they changed your name to Falling Watch.
So
Anyways.
it's the 21st. It's the morning. You bungee down to the post office. Stealth yourself again, please.
I'm not going to post. I'm going to go
To the
for the
train.
train.
To the train. I'm
To the
sorry.
moving train.
To the moving
Moving
train.
train. That'd be moving train.
All right. So you're not making the athletics roll, but you do have to make a stealth roll. Okay.
Fantastic.
Could have rolled better. But
Yeah, I mean,
But-
there's nobody in the mail car, so you're like, you want to be stealth in case somebody looks out and goes,
Walks in.
that's definitely good. I mean, there's nobody who can beat that on the train.
So go to the mail bag that came from New York, that international mail.
All right.
Pop in the letter.
Make a burglary roll. They're locked, but it's a really crappy lock, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. Just don't roll like -4. Okay, that's good enough. You've got one shift on it, so 4 seconds. It's not a bump and it unlocks. It's you actually have to take a few seconds to do it.
Okay, go back up. Crawl up the bungee cord.
All right.
Letter in place.
Okay.
Yeah. So now presumably we go back to. Well, okay, yes. Your thing is you want to triangulate. So
We want to plot a course offshore that'll give me the best ability to triangulate.
So you want to be north or south
Yep.
of where you were the last time.
I would say
well,
it was to the southwest, so we want to head
Northwest.
northeast or northwest.
No, we want to head
northwest. You want to head
Northwest.
east.
somewhere
Yes,
down here. We're
northwest.
there. We either want to go that way or that way.
Okay.
What direction is that?
Either west or south.
I'd say south.
Yeah,
Well, it's up to Annie.
Whatever will do it the best.
Okay.
That's all right. We're guys. We don't ask directions anyway.
Probably west because that's out over the water.
All right.
I'm going to say go down to Big Sur, but
Fine. So yes.
And I will monitor the radio because we don't know exactly when it'll happen.
oh, hey, why don't we? Well, wait, there's no way for me to contact you from too far away. I was going to say I could be in the office when he fires up the radio.
That really doesn't work so well because we'll want to start heading towards wherever the signal comes from as soon as I've triangulated. It'd best be we all be on the airship, I think.
Well, I could get back to their ship quickly. Okay, we'll just move west, and we'll just wait for the. We know what frequency he's going to use. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll just wait for the frequency. It isn't one normally used.
It's actually shorter from San Francisco to Hawaii than it is from Los Angeles.
That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't know
LA
that.
is further east.
No, this is going down. Okay.
All right.
Well, when I flew back from Hawaii, I went from Hawaii to LAX.
LAX is the larger airport.
So yes, a couple hours later, you get the transmission signal, and then a few minutes later, the ping back.
So it's a science roll. To
Yes.
I do try and copy down the messages that comes across, because that'll be a good test of my decoder once I've got it put together. And I think I did well enough on the science roll.
+3, probably.
Yeah, legendary.
You think? You
Not only do you
think
get
you
the
did well enough.
Sure, you want to throw a 3 point at that.
I do not think I need to put a fake point on top of
No,
that.
you don't. While you're not certain which island it is, you know that the ping comes from Hawaii. Yes, even legendary isn't quite good enough to make sure you know which Hawaiian island. it
That's
is.
fine.
He's a fake point. You know.
Well, the thing is, you probably needed to have the really good roll on both of them.
I had a fairly good roll, but I don't remember the exact value for
Right.
the first one.
Well, Hawaii it is. So tell me, how are you going to narrow it down once we get there? That's one
Can't
of-
we just do some detective work to find out where there is an Italian in Hawaii? I would think that would kind of stick out.
Well, the thing that's going to stick out is that this is probably a fairly large radio installation.
Yeah.
The only thing is that
It's not some guy in his basement with a little radio. It's
We can probably spot it from the air.
Yeah.
I enlist you as a camouflage, which is what I would do if I were him.
He doesn't have it camouflaged on this end, but it's
yeah.
possible.
I mean yeah, he does. There's a big radio antenna sitting on top of this building. So
It's probably on a, there's probably a perfectly good reason for a big radio antenna to be standing on top of that building in San Francisco. And there's probably just as good a reason on whatever one it is in Hawaii.
anyway, yes, if it's as easily spotted as the radio antenna on this building, you're gonna spot it. There probably are other radio antennas on Hawaii, but this would be one of the, say, half dozen biggest.
I think simple detective work can probably determine it. We can try other means.
I mean,
but
a decent investigation role is going to be able to spot all of the radio antennas of this size if you're high enough up.
Well-
do you remember what happened the last time Jack suggested something and you ignored him?
I didn't ignore him. I just didn't follow through on his
Mhm.
suggestion.
Anyway,
Which caused the failure.
we have plenty of people in the group who have very high investigation. So, and what are we doing now? Are we heading towards
I think
Hawaii?
we're heading towards Hawaii.
All right.
And I would suggest we have somebody monitor the radio with the machine in case they send another.
I have to build the machine.
Oh, that would be a problem.
No, it's
No,
not a
they just
problem.
need to transcribe it.
Just transcribe it.
Mhm.
Everyone knows Morse code, right?
Well, no, but everyone in this group can say they know Morse code. It's not that unusual.
Just an academic.
Isn't that a common human language?
Yes.
I believe it's a subset of our clip code.
Mm-hmm. Actually, if I were setting up a really big radio station in Hawaii, I'd say I was trying to develop a new radio telephone.
That's a way
Hide
of
it in
doing
plain sight.
That's a way of doing it. I would prefer the James Bond method.
Yeah.
The James Bond method, you'd hide it in a volcano?
There's a really good one over on the Big Island. The problem
There's
is it gets a
plenty of
little hot.
volcanoes in Hawaii.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is.
Just
I think he was well, either that or in the nice round lake.
Uh-huh.
We're in a big crater or something.
Trying to remember if they had water over the.
they did.
They did. Okay.
It drained away before they
Before they
opened
opened
the
the
doors.
doors.
Yes.
I couldn't remember anymore if they did or not. That's the only die
Was
twice.
that Doctor? Yeah, I was trying.
I
Not
think-
Dr. No.
Was Doctor No? Okay.
Not
Doc-
It's not
No,
Dr.
Dr. No is the nuclear.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's in Jamaica.
Yeah, he's yeah. I believe it's the only lived twice.
Only lived twice. Sorry.
I may have to go watch all 27 movies. All right, I'll skip over the Roger Moores. And
Well, no. A View to a Kill is an excellent movie. Spy Who Loved Me is an excellent movie.
That has nothing in common with the book other than the
Oh,
title.
look at Casino Royale.
mm,
The first Casino Royale. I mean.
Yeah, I know.
So,
So,
you're heading off and estimate that it's going to take you about 4 days to get to Hawaii.
okay. Well,
Yeah, you can explore this thing or something.
It's an airship. And that's really fast, actually.
I will go make the
Now
coding
it's
coding.
it's 4 days if you go day and night. If you go 12 hours a day, it's 8 days.
Because you need to do some spotting.
Do you wish to take
I don't have a
shifts?
problem.
Okay. Someone's in a hurry, so this would save us time.
Well,
Yeah.
That's one of your aspects, you know.
Yes, it is one of my aspects. Jack was in a hurry.
Okay,
Actually,
well,
should be is in a hurry, but I think it's more appropriate. But
When I use it, it's because Jack was in a hurry.
all right.
If it was just a Jack apostrophe S in a hurry, then it could be either.
But anyway, recreate the machine.
Okie dokie.
Encode decode machine.
This is an engineering role.
That could be better.
I could have a lot better.
Let's see. I think I risk a reroll.
Okay, what did you get?
You know, -2 on
Rick.
the
So
down
engineering
around
would be
fair
fair. Fair.
Fair?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's what you do in the reroll.
Give me those specs again.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
It seems a very appropriate. This
Oh.
isn't quite right.
Yeah, your character knows that would not be good enough.
Oh, the picture's upside down.
I improved it by 1.
Oh,
I guess I'll
Good,
spend
great,
another.
superb. And then take your time.
Oh, that's true. Taking time.
Yes.
Well, base time is 8 hours, isn't it?
Mhm.
To do
To
this?
create an object from scratch.
I have
a typewriter.
typewriter and gears
Gear.
that I had picked
Okay.
up. I had
she's
specifically
modifying the
spent
typewriter.
See, okay. To create an object from scratch, it
Takes 24 hours. Basically.
24 hours or a day.
A
It
day,
takes
It's
a
not.
day.
It's not phrased in hours.
Yes.
No, it couldn't be that specific.
Well, a day is on the
Yes.
time
I know.
increment
I
chart.
know.
So yes, the base time is a day because
A
you're making a
base
thing
time.
from scratch. You're not. Well, actually, you're improving a typewriter.
Yes,
That's
she's
right.
improving a typewriter.
I was
Oh.
saying improve a typewriter.
Improving a typewriter. Let
That would
me.
be, assuming
8
it's
hours.
one improvement, it would be 8 hours.
Just normal.
But the question is, what's the target? Typewriter's probably relatively cheap.
Yes.
Portable typewriter is actually fair.
Okay.
I say
So-
relatively.
So fair going to good,
Yes.
and is good about where that finished product would have been? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your estimate is yes, it would be one improvement on fair.
Okay.
So you're
So your target is good,
I have good.
and the base time is a day. So if you want to take
Base
a
time
lot,
is 8 hours.
sorry,
8 hours for an improvement.
for an improvement, the base time is 8 hours. You're right. So whatever.
We've got the time. We're traveling.
Okay. So you just take the 8 hours.
I take the 8 hours. I realize that. Oops. No, I had that
Right.
wrong.
Yep.
I just take the 8 hours.
Okay.
Annie, the pencil is in the photo, so you know which way is up.
and I test it with the message I had just had transcribed
Okay.
to decode.
And it works.
This time the courier didn't get a flat tire.
Yes. A huge rip in the tire.
Looks suspiciously like a 45 caliber round
Well,
tore through it.
nobody
No.
is going to look at it and say
Say-
it looks like somebody shot out my tire. It was just a
Especially-
big rip in the tire.
Okay. That's most of my day.
Yeah. So, anybody else doing anything? We've got
I
4
thought I'd
days.
go down to the shops and, you know,
We're over the ocean.
when I'm not piloting, I'm either sleeping or reading.
Jack was reading a book.
You could also be eating or drinking.
Eating and drinking, those are ancillary activities. Hitting the head, you know. That,
Yeah, we don't need to cover that detail.
No.
Okay.
Annie, you're out of toilet paper.
Fine.
That's not Annie's problem. That's the crew's problem.
Yeah, I kind of
And
doubt
that's been
that.
taken care of.
Yeah, you took care of the guy in the cargo, thankfully.
Well, why don't we be playing chess? When you're not piloting.
Skeet shooting off the fantail. If you had a fantail.
If you really insist on it, we could arrange that.
The problem, well, okay, you're over just the ocean. You're not over any ships. But if you're over any ships, firing off a gun,
Would kind of make them wonder where that.
where
came
did that
from.
sound come from?
we would prefer you not do a.
I mean, I suppose you could fire off silenced weapons.
It would
Oh.
still
Jack
make
weapons.
noise.
I keep telling you guys to develop Hushaboom.
Well, the thing is, dropping dynamite down and letting it explode after it's 100 feet underwater, it just makes a big splash and a strange boom underwater, which is an entirely different thing
Yeah.
from a strange boom up in the air.
Anyway, we're not going to be
Not gonna be
firing
doing
off
those
weapons,
things.
please. I don't want to have to make rolls to see how close the nearest ship is.
We'll skip that then.
I'll hand you a boomerang.
Okay.
Goes
World
boom.
traveler, she collected weapons. Here, you really want some boomerang?
You gonna get him a real boomerang or a toy boomerang?
A real one.
Okay. Well, you throw it once, it's not coming back, you know.
They actually do if you throw them correctly. I've seen it done.
And you throw one and you hit something with it.
If you
He's
hit
not
something-
hitting anything.
He's not hitting
throwing it
anything,
out
though, at
into
this
the
point.
air.
This is the okay. What am I doing?
It doesn't come right back either.
Yeah,
You're
it tends-
usually shifting at least.
Well, you're on a
5
moving ship as well.
Yeah.
So you're not getting it anyways.
Yeah.
Anyway, so day 1 goes by uneventfully. Is anybody doing anything in particular other than what Annie had to do?
Alright, so we gotta see who's gonna win in chess.
Okay, if you must.
Academics versus academics.
Academics.
Oh, I don't know.
It's academics. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, is it academics or is it gambling?
It's not.
It's
game.
not gambling.
Academics.
It is not at all gambling.
Average academics. It's a wash. Average.
Average.
Stalemate.
It's a tie. It's a
It's a
stalemate.
Yep.
Yep.
That's very appropriate for chess.
Yes, you get into a position where nothing is going to change, and you're just going to keep making the same moves over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Two kings running around.
Simon is going to spend his time consulting the Akashic records
Okay.
about dimensional travel.
Oh man.
One of his long-term objectives is to create a dimensional anchor.
Okay.
So he's going to do some research heading towards this.
Do not open a portal to the 10th dimension.
I'm not planning on doing. This is
This
all
is
currently
research.
pure theoretical research.
Okay.
And eventually, it's not a portal that he's looking for. Is it like something that you can attach to somebody and they can't do dimensional travel? Is that what you mean by a dimensional anchor?
Or something that I can set down in an area that set down and would have an area effect, making it difficult for somebody to dimensional travel out of that
Out
area.
of that area. Okay.
Yes, that type of thing.
All right.
I do not want to fight them monsters again.
That's fine. Yeah,
Well,
that
you-
has nothing to do, obviously, with.
Edgy especially doesn't want to fight those
Yeah,
monsters
he almost died. That's okay.
again. Yeah, you know who saved his life? Karkin.
Yes.
He never lets him forget it, by the way.
We know.
So, yes, you. Not a lot of humans have knowledge of dimensional travel. So the Akashic records aren't
Are limited.
super helpful.
Right.
And some of the knowledge is like mad scientist stuff.
Right.
Like your brain can't wrap itself around some of these concepts.
Right.
Says, activate the oscillator, and you're thinking incubator.
It's a lot more complicated than activate the oscillator.
Reverse the polarity.
That Simon gets, but there's more complicated
I know.
concepts than that.
Yes.
So
But that's what he's going to spend. That's what he's going to spend his buckets on.
I know it's Buckaroo Banzai. But what was that watermelon doing there?
I still like the don't touch that. You have no idea where it's been. The little toy carousel.
I like at the beginning when they're getting ready to go through the mountain.
Signed, sealed,
Signed,
delivered.
sealed, delivered. SINED, SEELED. Yeah.
They have a lot of nice little things in there.
So, other than that, we're not spending a lot of extra time. The 21st goes by.
So, do we still need all of the detector equipment for the radio, you think, or just spot it?
Well, you know that the guy who was supposedly sending the letter isn't going to be sending any more letters.
Right,
But you don't know if there's somebody else who might be sending a letter.
right.
Well, the standard equipment she has lets her.
Triangulate on a thing, but I wouldn't be able to do the pretend to be static to detect a radio receiver capable
It
of
would,
catching this strange frequency.
I mean, if you've got the time and could develop it before we get there, it could at least narrow it down to which island.
All right. Yeah, narrowing it down to which island is good.
Yeah, keeping a radio watch is probably not a bad idea.
Okay, so you're developing a radio improvement
Yep.
so that you can send out a pulse that looks like lightning that will get a response from the radio antenna that you're looking for.
Yep.
All right, well, make a science roll. I mean, it might be engineering, but
No, this is
I
mad
think
science.
this is
this is
science.
definitely in the science area, yeah.
A +1. So that's a base of fantastic.
What is your science lab?
My
Quality at?
Just a moment. It's down. Okay. The lab is fantastic. The
Okay.
workshop is superb. So fantastic, which is what I have on that roll.
All right.
So getting higher really isn't very useful.
Well, your radio equipment is not standard radio equipment.
But she bought all that radio equipment
to be
to
able
be able to modify it.
Right.
She's planning on making a separate
They-
machine that
they-
does this.
Yeah, it's either make a separate machine off of what I bought or adapt what I have
And it's probably
So
easier to.
fantastic was what you needed.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying. You
Oh.
were upgrading your superb radio equipment
to this.
to
Okay.
fantastic. So,
So 8
So
hours.
that would be one improvement, 8
one
hours.
improvement of 8 hours, and you don't if you leave
I
it
can-
at fantastic, you don't get any time shifts on it, and it will take you 8 hours.
But considering that I'm restringing wire all through the airship and stuff, I'm willing to give it 8 hours.
Okay.
I need another cross antenna. And once again, there's some minor changes in Annie's airship.
Right. Helium cells or hydrogen cells?
I think she is more likely to be using hydrogen at this point.
Okay. So she probably doesn't actually rig the cell bags to be part of this.
No.
That's a wise note.
The other reason for doing hydrogen is when you're over water and you need more, well, it just takes some electricity to get some more hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that Annie never has any shortage of is electricity.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Navy might, but not Annie.
Here's some of Tesla's experiments that she probably would be hard pressed to duplicate with her
So
equipment.
I have a question.
Yep.
It's not related to what we were just talking about, but so I had headquarters lair and stately pleasure dome.
Yep.
Th-
So
that increases the quality of his research library, but does it increase the quality of the base facility, like the building? There is an enhancement to the security. It gets enhanced security with
at Lair I took the extensive security and expert staff,
but like
and at Stately Pleasure Dome I took utmost security.
utmost secrecy.
Secrecy, yep. So I don't think the comm has necessarily been improved over what you just get with a headquarters. But I would have to reread the sections to be sure.
I'm thinking about like if somebody wants to break down one of the walls to get in, Jack punches it. Are those walls enhanced at all? Is that part of an extensive security then?
I wouldn't call it security.
I would call that security.
Okay. All difficulties for bypassing your headquarters security are increased by 1. All right. So any way of getting into the place is 1 harder than it was before
Yeah.
I upgraded. And I don't think any of the other upgrades affect stuff like that.
Is it only 1 at utmost? Because the security has been increased twice. It went to extensive and then to utmost.
Utmost is utmost secrecy.
Oh.
Security is
extensive security, utmost secrecy. Okay.
Yeah.
Secrecy,
Utmost secrecy
find
makes it hard to find.
Yeah.
Extensive security makes it difficult to get in.
Okay.
The breach.
And it does say all difficulties for bypassing your headquarters security,
Which
are
would
increased
include
by
the
1.
walls.
Right.
Would be harder to breach.
Okay. I guess I used some titanium in the alloy.
I'm going to say that was it good? Now it's at great. I hadn't made that. That notation, and I kept thinking, well, it's got to have improved the quality of the warehouse, not just the research library. And yeah, because it's improving the security, all the security, including the walls.
Oh, you're talking about John Doe's.
John Doe's warehouse, yeah.
Yes. Okay. It also has extensive security.
It had the only one it doesn't have is utmost secrecy, and that was traded out for
Communications?
world class.
Communication center.
No,
No.
communication center is one I already get
Okay.
because I have Stately Pleasure Dome. You get all of them, but you can trade out one of them, and I traded out utmost secrecy for a world class facility. So a world class lab, workshop, or library.
Adding another 2 to the quality of one of these facilities and speeding the rate of research by 1 increment.
Yes. So once the upgrade is done, which I think is in about a month and a half, he will have an awe-inspiring quality research library.
Right. And don't forget to subtract 1 increment from any research done in this library.
Yes, which considering he already has, which one is it? Is it walking library and photographic memory? Are
I
those the
believe
two?
those are the 2.
Yes, one unit less time for walking library. 2 units less time for photographic memory. So
And those are cumulative.
and those are cumulative. So 4 units less time for
Research.
John Doe doing any research.
Right. And then he could theoretically apply 4 shifts from from overflow and roll.
Are you saying that he'd be doing things in negative time?
No, he
No,
can't
you
get it down
can't
to
do things in negative time.
But
You can do things in an instant, which I've defined as 1/4 second.
however, something that would normally take 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, he would be doing in 1 minute.
You could only, well, that's right. You can only do 4 shifts, but that's not counting these shifts.
Right.
So if you had overflow on the question, is what you're saying?
Yes.
You could apply another 4 shifts of time.
Uh-huh.
And what was the result then of
4 days to 1 minute.
So that's research, right?
That's
Yeah.
research.
So you walk into this Library of Congress and you pull out the one book you need.
No, this is my particular
It would be in
research
his
library
research-
because
in
it
his
gives
research
me another
library.
bonus of unit of time less. And also I can research questions that are of awe-inspiring difficulty.
Right.
But I wouldn't, yeah,
But
No,
you
I've
always tell
been
people
adding
it's
to
going
that.
take 4
So
hours.
I've been adding to that. So yeah, there's things that other libraries don't have in this library.
There's
well,
all sorts of things that other libraries don't
His-
have in his library.
yeah, when his library is finished, it will be the best human library on the planet.
Yep.
And I have to suspect these guys never dreamed people would do what we're doing.
They have the stunts.
I know.
They never envisioned people being at this for how many years?
A decade.
Yes. Well.
Plus.
Anyway, so I spend the day upgrading the ability of my radio center.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, we have to play the next chess game.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can play several chess games
Jim's-
on the
On the show.
21st while you're hanging out.
Mediocre.
You beat me.
Ouch! You were both off your game.
We were both
Um,
playing badly.
Well, neither of you have academics very high.
True.
Don't play chess with John Doe
Or Simon.
or Simon. But John Doe occasionally uses gambits, and then he gets a +1 from his deceit. So, yeah, don't play chess with John Doe. So, yes, you guys can keep playing if you want.
And one game a day.
Let's
One
see.
game a day. Oh, okay. So
Yep.
that was on the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. So it's the 23rd.
Yep, screwed up, lost my queen.
Oh.
I think it's back to decoding alien messages because we've got everything we know of that we need in Hawaii for Hawaii.
Okay.
Basically be a good hostess.
So
and such.
so you decoded the
the
truth thing.
Yep,
Did you try to understand it?
I would have.
Not yet.
I would have.
I mean, you got the words, but that is complicated enough. The concepts are complicated enough that you actually have to spend time going over it, reading it, and thinking about it.
Yeah, but Spirit of Discovery, I can't see passing that by.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I gave you a little bit about what that starts with. It starts
Yep.
with Gödel's theorem, and therefore there is no such thing as a single objective truth.
Okay.
So multiple objective truths can actually be true and inconsistent with each other. Also, they are absolutely certain that your reality isn't what they call a base reality. It is a projected reality. And they don't know in what method it's projected, but they give various things. Mechanically, a mechanically created reality, a super being just in its mind could create an entire reality. You know, not a normal like human or whatever. But so they have found through the examination of time and space
that our reality.
that your reality
is-
could not be a base reality. It has to be a projected reality. They also know that within your reality, it is complicated enough that you can create projected realities that you could go into, basically. Your consciousness could go into it. And so there are levels of projected reality that they posit are below and above you. That's the kind of phrasing they use. So they don't know how to get to the
Base.
below, and they're not even sure if there is a base reality.
Okay.
It could be an infinite number of
It
layers,
could be.
or it's possible that if you keep going, you'll eventually get to a reality that is exactly identical to your reality, and therefore you could consider that to be circular, because all
Okay.
the realities below it would be the same as the ones that you just traversed. So
You asked.
yes, it's really complicated what truth is, because obviously in a projected reality, what is truth? Is it the truth of the reality that's below you? Is it the truth of the base reality?
Well, I'm not as interested in truth as John Doe.
Yeah.
So to me, this is, hey, I can create realities within this.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could create what they refer to as a projected reality. That is definitely a mad science thing. I mean, it's way up there. But you could do it.
But it also means that that Simon's approaches are as valid as your own.
No, it doesn't. But it does explain why Simon gets results.
Yes, because reality
Because
can be
his truth-
malleable if you can access the reality below your reality to change things.
Yes. His truths are different than mine.
And also, that is true. His truths could be different. Objective truths could be different and incompatible with yours, and yet still be true.
Yep.
Well, I wanted to know if she was interested, and
Yep. Well,
I really couldn't see passing it up with Spirit of Discovery.
yeah. So I'm not giving you all the details.
That's fine.
It's a very long treatise on the nature of truth, and it's an advanced civilization. But yeah, it's probably blowing your mind. It certainly is going to blow John Doe's mind when he understands it, because prior to this, he always thought there was a single objective truth,
An absolute.
an absolute truth. That is what he thought. And now he knows that at least within the confines of this universe, there isn't. And in
Well-
fact, there can't be.
Well, all he has to do is extend from Einstein. People thought there was an absolute frame of reference. And
Mhm.
Einstein showed that there wasn't.
So it's very, but the
It has applications.
and the nature of objective reality apparently can be changed, including anything in space time. Like you could change the past if you could get to a
I
lower
won't-
level
I
reality.
won't be sharing that part with the Shadow Jack, given his dedication.
It's changing the past without time travel. It's
Would
Yeah.
you like to maybe change the past so all those millions of people don't die from the Spanish flu? Does that maybe be a good thing?
well, but
The,
obtaining a way. I mean, even this advanced civilization has no idea how to get to a lower level reality and make large shifts in this reality.
Yeah, well, you just go to the Marvel Comics round. I actually liked it.
So,
that's really well worth the time I spent.
so going on from there, the science gets very strange. And you are starting to get concepts that seem very much like his stuff. So you're into the advanced science area now. Once you got past the treatise on truth. I don't know if you want to keep going.
Not today.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Reminds me of Clark's Law and somebody's corollary to Clark's Law.
Yeah.
Your science just, your technology just isn't advanced enough yet.
No, my magic isn't sufficiently advanced
Oh.
enough yet. That's the
Okay.
corollary. Any sufficiently advanced magic is indistinguishable from technology.
That way.
Yes. That's true. Your magic isn't advanced enough yet. There's no such thing as mad wizard in the stunts. You could create the two levels of mystic,
Yeah.
but yeah.
The
it's,
trouble is that
mysteries.
is not pulpy. That's why it's not there.
yeah.
I mean, the magic that they talk about here is based on like in the Shadow magazine,
Mm-hmm.
where it was present, but it was subtle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what they did, and they had that in mind when they wrote this. You know, there's no magic missile, there's no fireball.
Well-
yes. But I mean, it's not. Yeah, if you want to just stick within that area of that genre, yes.
But that's why it says a pulp pickup.
But there
bullpen.
are other pulps that were different than that. I mean, Conan, for instance, could be considered
But
pulpy.
No, Conan was in a pulp magazine, but it was not a pulp environment. The Hyborian Age was nothing to
Well,
do with a pulp environment.
If it was in a pulp magazine,
Not
Let's
considered
get back
pulp.
to the game.
all right. Yeah, well, we actually were arguing a point about mysteries,
Mysteries,
which is
yes.
involved with the game.
Yes,
So,
yes.
And if you go into the stuff in Strange Tales, there's a set of there's a whole bunch of mystery stunts that start tying into stuff like that.
Strange Tales. rip that off from Weird
Well,
Tales.
At dinner, I will mention to Simon that, you know, the treatise I gave to John Doe, it's really rather fascinating.
Oh,
Evidently, there's multiple realities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be interested in reading it sometime.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty much done with my translation. I can give it to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. That was what, the 22nd?
Mhm.
Oh, 23rd.
23rd. 23rd.
And sometime late on the 24th, we expect to arrive near Hawaii, right?
Yes.
So, one more chess game.
I assume there have been no radio.
There have not.
Okay.
Woohoo.
Fair.
Fair.
Another draw.
There is stalemate.
Wow.
That's why they take so long.
Right.
It takes longer to get a draw than a
It takes us a
decisive
long time to
victory.
get the 2 kings on the board. Damn it, did it again.
Yeah, there are other setups that you can't actually get a checkmate in, but yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
So, do I get anything significantly different from what she got out of the treatise?
No.
Okay.
You do recognize that they are going in a way that sort of begins to move over onto the mysteries side.
Right.
And it gives you a partial understanding of why some advanced civilizations call what you do advanced science.
Right.
But it's completely foreign. Now that sort of idea is completely foreign to you, really. The
Yeah.
idea, I mean, it's like, ooh, ee. It's like what Annie thinks about what you do.
Yeah.
All right, so it's the 24th. You are doing things, who cares what, but late on the 24th, you are near the Big Island, I'll say.
Okay.
So, Annie, I understand that you did something that would narrow it down to what particular island we want to start with, at least.
We're hoping so. What is the forecast for today?
Partially cloudy, warm, but there's no storms moving in.
Okay. And I have not been to Hawaii.
I
I
have.
do not know. Do they get the things that you get in the tropics where, okay, and for about an hour in the afternoon?
In the summer they do, not in the winter.
Okay. They do get the tropical storms every day, though.
But it rains every
Basically.
day.
Okay.
In the summer.
In the summer.
summer.
Not
We're in
February.
February
We're in
right
February.
now.
It doesn't do that.
We're in the dry season.
So right now we don't have anything that would cause lightning naturally.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. You look on the horizon and no, there's no storm clouds coming in.
Okay. So do we want to gain elevation and try and see if we can just spot likely things, or do we want to do it anyways when
I
it's
was
more
thinking-
detectable?
I was thinking, well, why don't we gain what elevation we can and take a look before dark,
Okay.
and then about 3 o'clock in the morning set it off.
Does it have to be at, oh God, early in the
Well, the objective
middle
is
of my sleep period?
the objective is for it to be in the middle of their sleep period.
So they
So
don't
that
look
they
out and
aren't
say,
going, you know,
Alright.
where was that lightning? There's no actual storm
I
clouds.
suppose I could get up in the middle of the night for the experiment.
You have a,
Annie has done that many times.
I was going to say, it's
before.
not like Andy's never done
Not
that
the
before.
first time.
It isn't the first time. It just
And it won't be
isn't
the last.
for as good a purpose. It isn't for science. But
That could be an aspect. It's for science.
Okay.
actually, I need to write that down. I don't have it's for science. And I should.
It's almost time. I'm going to call it for the night.
Okay.
Okay.
Ugly.
I do believe that my next aspect will be it's for science. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who hung out. Nobody actually chatted tonight, but I did see that there were people hanging out watching the stream. So thank you very much, everybody.
I'm at 40.
I didn't